She sent me a listing on a house that she wanted to see. I said, who's your agent? You need to find an agent so that you can go see the house. He doesn't understand what the buyer representation is and how she's gonna have the opportunity to go see houses that aren't currently like an open house situation. Share with me so I can tell her what she has to do so she can now start looking at houses.
Right.
She needs an agent.
The state of Maryland, and honestly nationwide, like things change. To have a signed representation agreement to show a buyer a house. So like if they come into my open house, that's fine. I can show them the house, I represent the seller. But if they wanna go see houses, the agent has to discuss with them, what is buyer agency? Look, you certainly have your choice of who you wanna choose as an agent. So the buyer agency agreement, it's a contract. You know, it has a beginning date, it has an ending date, it has the parties to the contract, me as your buyer's agent, you as the buyer.
So if they were really concerned about, entering in some kind of commitment, you could limit that commitment till just that house or just that day or whatever, just to
Yeah.
allow somebody who's just getting started to
Mhm.
kind of dip their toe in the water and go see houses. Because she sent me this listing and I said, yes, you can afford this. I ran the numbers, let's go see it. I'm like, I can't do that for you. Now you have to get an agent.
Right.
And I even looked before I made that comment because there was no open house scheduled for the weekend or something like that would have given her an opportunity to go see it on her own without necessarily being represented. She could agree to see that house only and enter into a broker agreement for that.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like if people knew that, they would be less intimidated or nervous about signing something, because of course everybody on the planet says, well, don't ever sign anything with anybody.
Right.
Well, that has to change.
Because now you're committed, but no, a buyer agency has a beginning date, it has an end date, but there's also a termination clause. If after a month, you change your mind, like you don't wanna buy, or like we just don't mesh, there's a termination clause in the buyer agency agreement that says you can terminate this with X amount of hours notice.
Right.
Like, give me notice, you can terminate.
I think if people knew that, they'd be more inclined to get out of the car and really start to look at houses.
What people don't understand is they can call the listing agent, but the listing agent also has a signed representation agreement with their seller.
If people understood who's working for who, they would want to seek out a buyer's agent for themselves.